Faint cries for help lead police to missing 5-month-old baby buried in the woods. In a world that's full of horrors and atrocities, it's becoming imperative to guarantee a protection for everyone, especially for the weak. The work of the police is therefore becoming enormously difficult to ensure, for helping those who are in need and to intervene at the right moment when they're called for. In our story, a phone call marked the beginning of a mission full of fright and anticipation to prevent a disaster from happening. In the small community of Lolo Hot Springs, Montana, police received a phone call denouncing the aggressive behavior of a man. Other emergency calls confirmed that the man was threatening people with a weapon he was carrying. The police went to the scene to assess the situation, assuming that the man was probably under the influence of a drug. When they got there, the man had already left. Witnesses told the police that they recognized the man, named Francis, who lived in Lolo National Forest with a woman. Francis was unemployed, but his partner was, and during her absence, Francis frequently was in charge of her 5-month-old baby. The police's worries quickly escalated, and the situation got complicated after hearing that the baby had disappeared for hours. They started gathering information in order to know what happened to the baby and where he was. During this discussion with the witnesses, Francis returned to the area, all confused and disoriented. The police arrested him so as to ask him a few questions, to which he provided illogical and incomprehensible answers, revealing that he was indeed under the influence of a drug. Francis claimed to have had a car crash while he was driving at night. He was not injured from the accident, but the stories he told the police about the baby were very contradictory, varying from a scenario where the baby would still be alive in the car to that he was dead there, or even that he had buried him somewhere in the woods. The ambiguous informations that Francis provided left the police unable to define exactly where the baby was, given the absence of an exact location of the accident. Efforts were therefore concentrated on locating him as soon as possible in the hope that he'd still be alive. For this purpose, a research team was quickly formed from several Missoula County Sheriff's deputies and U.S. Forest Service law enforcement officers. Rescuers started working tirelessly in the search for the child, but their mission was extremely hard because of the uncertain information that Francis gave them. A little time after, Deputy Ross Jessup and the U.S. Forest Officer Nick Schultz were able to spot the exact location of the vehicle after they were searching the vicinity of an abandoned road that matched the exact description of the accident's location. The officers found the baby's belongings, a piece of clothing, baby bottle, and even a diaper bag and baby carriage a little further, but there was no trace of him. After this discovery, despair began to reign over the team's members. Rescuers have spent about 9 hours of continuous search with no results, and they were almost sure that the infant was dead. Suddenly, Deputy Jessup and Officer Schultz heard a weak cry of a child very far away. The officers started running in the direction of the sound. Advancing, Deputy Jessup saw under a heap of leaves and branches a baby of 5 months, lying face down, all wet and cold. At this sight, Jessup could not help but holding the baby in his arms, making sure he's still alive and hugging him tightly. The baby had some abrasions, bruises, and some superficial wounds, but had no serious injuries. This made the rescuers extremely happy because they almost lost hope of finding the child alive. They quickly covered him and took him to the ambulance. The baby was so tired and hungry that he drank 3 bottles of Pedialyte on the road while clutching the captain's finger very tightly. Francis stated that he had abandoned the baby because he was heavy, without explaining whether he intentionally wanted to bury him under debris. Francis has been brought to justice, being charged with criminal endangerment and assault on a minor. Many times during his trial, he broke down crying, claiming that he loves the baby and never wanted to hurt him. The incident was everlastingly marked in the spirits of the rescuers, especially for Deputy Jessup, who got very emotional talking about it during a press conference. The helpless baby found miraculously someone to save him from a certain death, an example of consciousness, compassion, and duty that was set by all the rescuing team members and the police that continue saving lives and preventing crimes daily around the world.